Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. There were some ulama that lived and were extremely famous during their time, as well as in the generations that followed. But over time, the laity, so to say, forgot entirely about their existence. But the saddest part of it all is that even amongst many modern day ulama, you will find that they may perhaps not even have heard of those ai before. One such person is Imam Abu Ja'far Muhammad ibn Abdullah ibn Muhammad al-Balkhi Al-Hindawaani, but is more commonly known simply as Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah. Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah was the first of a new generation. It was a time immediately after the Salaf. In other words, Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah was amongst the first of the ulama of the Khalaf, because he was born in the year 300 after Hijrah, the beginning of the Islamic 4th century, as the time of the Salaf lasted for the first 300 years of Islam only. Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah was born in a place called Hindawaan, which was located in the province of Balkh, and Balkh continues to exist up until this very day. It is located in present-day Afghanistan. Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah played a pivotal role in the preservation and spreading of the Hanafi madhab, and being from that early time of Islamic history, the world had just seen the passing of the great Fuqahaa and Muhaddithin, and it was then the ulama like Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah that took up the responsibility to preserve the teachings of the previous generations and pass it on to the next generation to come. A person may not realize it at first, but the time between Imam Abu Hanifa Rahimahullah and Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah had 5 generations of ulama between them, making it essentially 5 links in the chain from Imam Al-Hindawaani to Imam Abu Hanifa Rahimahumullah. Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah studied under Imam Abu Bakr Al-A'mash Rahimahullah, who learnt under Imam Abu Bakr Al-Iskaf Rahimahullah, and he in turn studied under Imam Muhammad ibn Salamah Rahimahullah, who learnt under Imam Abu Sulaiman Al-Jawzajani Rahimahullah, who was a direct student of Imam Muhammad ibn Al-Hassan Al-Shaybani Rahimahullah, and he was the famous student of Imam Abu Hanifa Rahimahullah. Now this is how knowledge is preserved and imparted, through a solid unbroken chain of ulama, from each student going back up all the way to the Imam of the madhab, and then up further until it reaches Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The knowledge of Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah was legendary in his own time. So much knowledge and so deep was his understanding of that knowledge that it earned him a title that was never given to anyone before him, nor to anyone after him either. That title was Abu Hanifa As-Saghir, which means the little Imam Abu Hanifa Rahimahullah. The ulama have mentioned with regards to Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah that whenever anyone would have a difficult issue, something that a person would struggle to try and get an answer for, then Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah would give a fatwa on it as if it's something easy. That's how much Allah had opened the deen for him to be able to understand it. Over and above this, when there was ever anything that was obscure, unclear, a bit of a riddle to understand, then once again the person that people would flock to was Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah. This deep understanding of the deen and the ability to link things together to make a clear picture was something that Imam Abu Hanifa Rahimahullah was best known for. That when others would give up due to how difficult a particular matter would appear, Imam Abu Hanifa Rahimahullah would make it look easy. And this is what could be found in Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah as well. In the terminology of the Ahnaf, when we speak of Imam Abu Ja'far al-Faqih, then it refers to one person only, despite the fact that there were many Hanafi Fuqahaa who were also known as Abu Ja'far, like for example the great Imam of the Salaf, Imam Abu Ja'far al-Tahawi Rahimahullah. But for us, this title of Abu Ja'far al-Faqih, when it's used unrestrictedly like this, then it only applies to Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah. That's how highly regarded is the knowledge of fiqh that Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah had. Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah is regarded as being one of the most knowledgeable Hanafi ulama of all time. And his fatwa makes up for a big part of the contemporary rulings of the madhab that were not discussed by the Ahnaf prior to his time. It is for this reason that time and again in the books of fiqh, a person will find the fuqaha mentioning that Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah was asked regarding a matter and this was his fatwa. And that fatwa would be taken as being part of the madhab because his knowledge of all the Hanafi works, both of fiqh and usul, was so complete that if he gave a fatwa on something, then while to the untrained eye and the mind which is lacking, it may seem as if it was just his personal opinion. But for the people of knowledge, they would understand the depth of the fatwa, seeing in their mind how things were pieced together to come to that conclusion, while at the same time appearing as if it's the first time that they had come across those proofs. And that is why the fatwa of Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah were always accepted without question. Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah had many students that studied under him, but the most famous of all his students was the great Imam Faqih Abu Layth As-Samarqandi Rahimahullah. Besides teaching, Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah also wrote kitabs. The names of 3 of his kitabs are known. They are Al-Fawaid Al-Fiqhiyya, Sharh Adab Al-Qadi, and Kashf Al-Ghawamid fi Furu' Al-Fiqh. The unfortunate part is that none of these kitabs have managed to survive to the present day to be published. Perhaps in someone's library somewhere, the manuscripts of these kitabs can still be found, but sadly, it's not available to all and sundry. But the thing is that despite not having access to those kitabs, that doesn't mean that the effects of these great ai cannot be felt, or that somehow it has lessened it, because the actual kitabs being here are not as important as the chain of knowledge where the knowledge of these ulama were passed down from generation to generation, to the point that even if people were to forget about the ulama like Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah, the reality is that their works will continue to live on long after them through the generations of ulama that teach the deen to others, and those before all have a share in the reward. Imam Al-Hindawaani Rahimahullah passed away in Bukhara in Uzbekistan in the year 362 after Hijrah. May Allah illuminate his qabr and grant us the ability to understand the debt of gratitude that we owe to these ulama that had made the deen easy for us to be able to have the answers to things today. آمين يا رب العالمين وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.